Ayvazov, also I go by Rocco. I'm the founder and the CEO of Monocacy Builders. So we're primarily focused in affordable housing. We start as a single family operators, choose not to leave the area, so we're staying in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And it's a small market here, so we're able to touch pretty much everything in the real estate. So we did single families, multi-units, redevelopment projects, old warehousing, townhouses, new construction, you name it, we did it. Since we started a business, I did over 1,000 transactions, over $1 billion in real estate. We flipped 600-700 homes easy. We built about 500-600 units. We did create a lot of housing that's all in the Lehigh Valley, so we're not focusing too much on the units numbers. We're more focusing on the impact of what kind of impact our work with the residents, employees, what is the opportunities we're creating for them as well. I'm not from here. I'm original born and raised in Bulgaria. I came in America about 2006. I was 21 years old, chasing that American dream. I was working in manufacturing and I was sewing American flags. That was my first job. I was sewing American flags for $5 an hour. That's how I started my journey here. The construction, the way I get it, pretty much was through necessity. Fellow Bulgarian, I went and approached him to work for free so he can teach me the trade. So that was my way pretty much to get into the construction world. Because I knew if I go and ask for money, they're never gonna hire me. As a day laborer, in the beginning, when I came, I was working 106 hours, 110 hours a week, straight for almost 2.5 years. And then I knew that's not sustainable. I couldn't do that for too long. There was a lot of flippers at the time. I find a property up in East Stroudsburg. I purchased that property for $35,000. We converted that property for single family to 3 units. Did that in a few months. We sold it. We make some profit. And from that point, we start getting more into flips. My first boss, Jack, he lost the business. China took over the flags. He was forced to foreclosure. A few years later, I was lucky enough, went back and bought the building. We rehabbed it, renovated, and converted it to 12 apartments. My most precious building is probably that one. That building there, it's a true American dream to work there and then going back and own it. That's something that was never even crossing my mind. My goal at the time was to make $100,000. To purchase my own property, my own home, and then I was thinking I would be golden. From that point I don't need anything, but then I was wrong. After I create the Monocacy Builders, then I find out that now we're running a business. There was a lot of things that I didn't know about it. I was a worker. I know how to work. I have that work ethic, but when you're running a business, you need a different skills. All the business to me is the same. It's people business. You need to have a lot of different skills to manage people. You need to understand financing. When you get to the commercial constructions, it's different. The single families, a lot of the bigger projects, it's actually politicians involved as well. So there's a whole different challenges that they're facing. I met Dan, and that's when the game changing happened. Boy, it's been a decade. We've been doing business together with DLP. Dan, he was doing flips himself. And one thing that he found out, the time I was doing faster and cheaper, that he was doing it. So I was borrowing money to him and he was watching my transactions. And then he called me and approached me and said, hey, you're doing it faster, more efficient. Let's start doing them together. And then there was a point afterwards that he didn't want to do anything on the flips. Then I was getting all the profits. He was getting a small portion. But we're talking here hundreds of transactions. He always makes sure that I get the bigger piece out of it. Beginning, I was using him primarily borrowing money. But then that relationship, it just went above and beyond, from bank to friendship and family. DLP was never just a lender. I was able to go out there and buy stuff with confidence because I know Dan, he's gonna be there. That's what makes him unique And even with the bigger projects like Boyd that we're partnering now together, there was a lot of things that I didn't know myself. But I know with the partnership together, DLP has a team with a lot of experience with that stuff that I know we're going to be successful to get it done. We're actually converting an old movie theater together with DLP and Dan. That was an old movie theater that opened in 1921, and we purchased that property about 3 years ago, and we're just about ready to finish it. So we converted that to 205 units, and we're gonna have 2 restaurants in there. Primarily the focus is affordable housing for the people that are stuck in the middle, that not qualified for subsidies, but they don't making the big bucks. Nurses, police officers, firefighters. We're looking at every different ways, use some of the old pieces to give back to the communities. Especially in that project, the Boyd, there was a lot of nostalgia with the city. A lot of people went there to watch their first movie, their first date, and things like that. So that's very important. Something me and Dan, we're both passion. It's for affordable housing. And so we're looking at ways how to build it efficient on a lower rent in today's world. We came with a design to make it as a smaller units and amenitize as much as we can. Boyd is truly the first building of the kind in downtown Bethlehem. There are some apartments, but there's nothing like it. It's actually bold for me to meet the level of perfection and quality. We're in a business providing services. Bottom line, we are providing services to our residents. I feel like if we're asking them for money for monthly rent, we have to provide those services and quality. So the standards, they need to be high. And another thing is there's apartments everywhere. Why we're different than anybody else, those people to choose to live with us, to build their memory and family with us. So we have to provide that quality to the people. Family is important to me. It has to be family-oriented business. It's all about family.